wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Lauren LaRosa filling in for Jess. And let's get in some front page news. Let's start off with some quick sports. Last night, the Buffalo Bills beat the Dolphins 31-10, but their quarterback, Tua, suffers another concussion.
Damn. He gonna have to retire then.
Another concussion.
Damn.
Where he had to be taken out the game.
I didn't watch it last night.
It was
what quarter was it?
It was, I believe it was the third quarter, right? And you know who hit him?
Who?
Hamlin.
No.
Yeah, Hamlin was the one that he ran into and got the concussion.
Football is a dangerous sport, boy. Football is really a blood sport.
Now he's
That's
only
crazy.
Tua is only 26 years old.
I don't know.
He just signed a $212 million deal. $93 million is guaranteed, so he might just want to.
He might want to walk away word
yeah.
is bond because
he has a family. You
got to think about 36 and you got to think about 46 and you got to think about 56. You don't want to be 56 years old, shaking and drooling on yourself.
No,
Some
you're right.
athletes don't be wanting to not play, though.
I was thinking the same
They
thing.
be
He might
wanting
not
to play.
But it gets to a point. He's been injured so many times. This is like his fifth, sixth, or seventh concussion.
Is it that many? I don't know if
Yes.
it's that many.
Yeah.
Three.
Four. He's a fourth concussion.
Three, four?
3 or 4. 3 or 4 concussions.
Well, one too many.
Yeah, one too many. All right. Good morning, Morgan.
Good morning, good morning. Happy Friday. Cheers to the mother effing weekend. And it's Friday the 13th. So Vice President Harris, she's back on the campaign trail following Tuesday's debate. She held a rally in Charlotte, North Carolina yesterday afternoon, and she touted recent endorsements from high-profile conservatives, in addition to addressing Tuesday's debate against former President Trump. Let's hear those comments from Harris at a rally in North Carolina.
Former Vice President Dick Cheney and Congresswoman Liz Cheney are supporting me as well, because this election and what is at stake could not be more important. On Tuesday night, I talked about issues that I know matter to families across America. It was the same old show, that same tired playbook that we've heard for years, with no plans for how he would address the needs of the American people.
Of course, she is referencing former President Donald Trump, the Republican nominee. Now, Harris is once again calling for a second debate with the former president and says candidates owe it to voters. Now, Trump claimed polls clearly show he won the debate, and the first words out of a prize fighter when they lose is, "I want a rematch." Now, the former president said Harris no-showed at a debate with Fox News. That was not scheduled, so that's not true, and refused to do ones with NBC and CBS. He said she should focus on her job as vice president instead of wanting another debate. There's also been reports saying that Trump is not interested in doing another debate.
Do the American people need another debate, or have we seen enough? I wonder.
Enough.
I wonder.
Yeah.
I think we've seen enough.
But I was thinking about this yesterday. I was watching CNN, and they were talking about this. And I think it's just strategy for her, because I feel like with Biden, he did a lot of toting back and forth with Donald Trump, but not directly with her. I think she wants to keep leaning in on the contrast of like how sharp she is, because she has that advantage over him, and you see it clearly when they're together.
And he looks like the madman. He looks like the old dribbling madman now.
But when they're just on two different sides, it's like it's not as clear for some people. So I think she just wants to keep driving that home versus the interview and
He
stuff.
still looks like the madman regardless. He does.
Yeah,
but to his people, they like that.
And I know the bases of the party have pretty much made up their minds, but have the undecideds, have the independents. I don't know, because what I'm learning more and more every day is that a lot of excitement around the vice president is largely in the party. And excitement in the party is not going to be enough to win an election in November.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of madmen, former President Donald Trump, he's doubling down on claims that Haitian immigrants in Springfield, Ohio, are still stealing people's pets and eating them. He made those comments during a rally yesterday in Tucson, Arizona, his first since the Tuesday's debate. Trump said the Haitian immigrants were destroying Springfield residents' way of life. He claimed during the debate against Harris that immigrants in Springfield were eating dogs and cats. And he also said that history will not treat President Biden well. Let's hear those comments from Trump at his rally in Arizona.
They take in the geese. You know where the geese are? In the park, in the lake. And even walking off with their pets. My dog's been taken. Biden and Kamala, this is the worst combination in the history of our country. The only one happy is Jimmy Carter, because he's no longer referred to as the worst president in history.
This is just absolutely terrible.
He always looks like a madman.
Oh, sounds like one.
Yeah.
Sakpa say to all my Haitian massive, man.
Mabule.
And I saw a report, and I think it was, I don't know what the outlet is, but it's a Haitian outlet, and they were talking about like crime that has increased toward Haitian people because of this these conversations.
Really?
In fact, there was a bomb
First
threat.
of all, you're not running. You're not committing no crimes against no Haitian people. Okay, y'all
trying to
think
tell you.
Haitian people is far from punks? Oh, you out your damn mind?
You better leave them
okay,
alone.
you better leave
Know
the
what I know.
Haitian community alone. All right?
You know what? That's
If you think you just gonna be committing crimes against Haitians, you out your rabid ass mind. Okay.
You're going to
better-
F
So,
around
well-
to find out.
Yeah, you better leave them alone if you know what I know.
Well, this comes as details have been released after a bomb threat in Springfield, Ohio, led to the evacuation of City Hall. Officials say the threat was emailed to multiple city facilities on Thursday morning, including some schools. Springfield Mayor Rob Rue told reporters that the threat used hateful language toward immigrants and Haitians in the area. Of course, this comes 2 days after the debate in regards to those comments that former President Trump made. Springfield City Mayor says it's disappointing that the narrative surrounding our city has been skewed by misinformation circulating on social media and further amplified by political rhetoric.
All you got to do is get a piece of Donald Trump's head to the right Haitian. Okay.
Yeah, well, there's some Haitians in Long Island calling for apologies. We won't get into the audio, but let's just say the Haitians, like you said, they not happy.
If a Haitian tell you to say sorry, you better say sorry.
Right?
Then you're going to learn the hard way. Okay? All right. Don't tell them nothing.
All
Don't
right.
tell them nothing.
And that is front page news. Thank you, Morgan. We'll see you next hour.
Yes, indeed.
Wake that ass up.
In the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Lauren LaRosa filling in for Jess. Let's get back in some front page news. What we got, Morgan?
Yeah, so the Congressional Black Caucus's 53rd Annual Legislative Conference is happening at the Walter E. Washington Convention Center in Washington, D.C., and the event runs September 15th runs until September 15th, with a focus on legislation initiatives impacting the Black community. And in a Black Information Network exclusive, I spoke with Gregory Jackson. He is the head of the White House Office of Gun Violence and Prevention about the current state of gun violence in the U.S. Let's hear more from Action, Greg Jackson.
Gun violence is the number one cause of death for Black youth in America, but also Black men, and number two cause of premature death for Black women. So this is a huge issue that's devastating our communities, but the CBC has stepped up. There's been 4 different panels on this. Representative Lucy McBath did one on women and how they are addressing the issue of gun violence. I partnered with Senator Warnock, and we hosted a panel about how this is impacting youth. There was another panel tomorrow with Robin Kelly, and there's a whole focus throughout this conference of how do we turn vision into victory, and not just thinking about elections, but thinking about how do we make sure these policies are working to save lives and prevent violence from happening in the future. So I'm pumped. Our panel today only seated 400. We packed it out, standing room only. We had 200 people in the hallway trying to get in because people want to know about what's happening, the solutions, and how they can be helpful. So we're fired up about that.
Yeah, so he also talked about Biden's efforts against gun violence. Let's hear those comments.
You know, this was the first president to name gun violence as a public health crisis in American history. He also was the first one to pass a bill on gun violence in nearly 30 years, the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. He actually moved forward with over 40 executive actions on gun violence. And to give you some comparison, that's more than any other president combined. 40 executive actions by Biden is more than any other president combined. He made the largest investment in youth mental health in American history in response to gun violence and how it was impacting our youth in schools and in communities. So this has been a top issue for him literally since day one. And this is just kind of the icing on the cake, building a team and creating the White House Office of Gun Violence Prevention. We're able to implement all of the policy changes. We're able to identify new ways to address this crisis. We are now overseeing the response and how do we support families? How do we react to mass shootings? How do we make sure the messaging is right? But we're also building partnerships in a way that the White House has never done before.
Yeah, I think this is really important because, Vice President Harris, she recently admitted that she and second gentleman, Doug Emhoff, they're both gun owners. Greg Jackson, he admitted to, in that conversation as well as being a gun owner. You guys have admitted to being gun owners. So it's about being responsible and using that as the last resort,
That's right.
in terms of, when to use that tool.
You damn right. I don't even, I'm not admitted to being gun owners. I'm a proud Second Amendment. I'm a proud gun owner.
But like you said, the problem is that there is a lot of times there is no training, right? So when I was in college and I purchased my first gun at 21, I didn't get any training. I was just able to go in there and purchase a firearm. In Jersey, to get your firearm, you have to take classes. You have to learn what the laws are and the rules are. But just think about it. At 21 in college, you get your first gun, your first firearm. There were no rules and regulations to abide by. There was no classes or courses. They give you your first gun, and it's pretty much like good luck.
Yeah, and by the way, it's pointless to own a gun if you don't know how to use it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, some people just feel like having a gun gives them a sense of security and protection. No, you got to know how to use that firearm.
People think when something happens, they just going to instantly know how to use it.
No, but the thing is, there's
like
different laws for different places. Like in New Jersey, if somebody is running out your house, you're not allowed to shoot them in the back. But in other areas, you're allowed to shoot in the back. Like, you have to know the rules and the laws in each state.
Yeah, but knowing the laws mean nothing if you don't know how to use the gun.
That's true.
Hit the range. Hit that range.
That's right.
Okay, so also during the Congressional Black Caucus's 53rd Annual Legislative Conference, I spoke exclusively with Texas Congresswoman and clapback queen Jasmine Crockett about Harris's housing plan. Let's hear those comments.
Housing is a real issue, and we don't control the interest rates. It's the Fed that controls it. It's not the House, it's not the Senate, it's not the president, but that still doesn't mean that it feels good. So having a president that understands the challenges to building this generational wealth around the fact that we don't have access to housing like we need because the housing supply is in short numbers for a lot of different reasons. I have been studying this issue, and I could go through all the reasons, but she wants to make sure that there's more housing supply. The more housing supply, the less the prices will be, in addition to $25,000 down payment assistance for those first-time home buyers. That is a lot bigger than $1,200.
Absolutely. And the $1,200 she's referencing is... The $1,200 that she's referencing is the stimulus checks that people seem to think that they actually got from Trump because his name was on the check. But again, all of that was approved through Congress and Democratic efforts. Go ahead.
I really don't understand that, right? When COVID hit and they were encouraging people to purchase homes, the interest rates for purchasing a home went anywhere from 1.9 to 2.9%. And people were purchasing homes, and these banks were still making billions of dollars as profit with these people's with the interest rates. So I don't understand why they have to put the interest rates to 7%. Right, that discourages people from buying homes, and it puts it's a lot more on people. And the banks are not only just making $10 billion, now they're making $30-40 billion. I don't understand why they can't keep the interest rates low, where it encourages people to buy homes, it encourages people to pay less on their mortgage. I never understood that at all, because obviously it can be done because we did it for 4 years in COVID.
Yeah, well, as someone who actually purchased my home during COVID, I can't necessarily relate, and I didn't necessarily have that rate. So there's that. I mean, to each his own. But to your point and to her point, the Fed controls all of that. So, hey, Fed, can you fix some of that, please, for us?
Yeah, lower that rate back so people can buy some homes.
Yeah, I need some more. So also she spoke about she also shared her thoughts on former President Donald Trump. Let's hear those comments from Jasmine Crockett.
I'm not letting him off the hook for, especially since he at least had an opportunity during the debate to say I was wrong.
He took out a full-page ad, by the way, in case y'all didn't know.
He spent money, which is something, y'all know he don't pay his bills, but he spent money on this. But during the debate, he had an opportunity to say I was wrong.
Yes.
And he didn't. Instead, he doubled down and said, well, they pled guilty. Well, let me tell you something. They were paid over $40 million because of their illegal incarceration. Yes. So if this is the guy that y'all think is going to lead the way to free us, when he still can't apologize for what was done to those black and brown boys, let me tell you, he still don't care about y'all. And even though he has his fair share of cases and things like that and whatever, I don't want y'all to get it mistaken. He ain't like us.
They not like us.
He not like us. Because the reality is that out of all the cases I've ever had, I've never had a defendant that had this many cases in this many different jurisdictions, and they somehow be out on bond this entire time.
She was referencing the Central Park Five when she first started when that clip first started. She was talking about the Central Park Five and how former President Trump took out that full-page ad. He spent money, and he did not apologize during the debate when he had an opportunity to do so. My governor, Governor Wes Moore, actually spoke at the Congressional Black Caucus too, and he said that racism is expensive. So, in regards to that $40 million payout, yeah.
And listen, I salute to Jasmine Crockett. I really do hope we stop trying to correlate Donald Trump's criminal cases with him being able to relate to black people. Nobody thinks that makes Trump, like black people except for culturally clueless idiots and racists. Like, stop. Like, that's not even a conversation. Like, I don't even entertain that. Like, don't even dignify that with a response when people try to bring up those comparisons. Or try to say that's a correlation or that's why black people like Trump. Like, no, not because of no damn mugshot, not because they know none of his criminal cases. We can't relate to nothing Donald Trump is going through. We've never experienced that level of privilege. If I had 94 criminal cases, I wouldn't have no job. I wouldn't be able to apply for no job. I'd be in jail. I'd have been put in handcuffs. You never even seen Trump in handcuffs. Like, cut it out. Like, no, we can't relate to that. We've never seen that level of privilege as a black person ever.
And won't see it.
No.
No. Well, you're right. But let's hope with the next story. So the New York City Council passed a package of bills yesterday afternoon that would study the impact of slavery and could lead to reparations. Councilwoman Farah Lewis's legislation would study the historical and present-day role of New York City government related to slavery and racial injustices and consider reparative measures. Let's hear from her.
The effects of past harms still resonate today. These legacies manifest in systemic inequities that disadvantage Black and brown people, especially Black and brown women.
We need honesty in understanding the historical legacy of slavery in New York City and its impact on New Yorkers, as well as a path towards healing, reconciliation, and repair.
So reparations, what do they look like? Well, they could include monetary payments, medical care, and legal services. The legislation would have a committee establish facts about slavery in New York City and its ongoing legacies affected persons and communities. Some critics say they would like to focus more on equal opportunity efforts as opposed to reparations. What are your thoughts?
What are my thoughts? I mean, I definitely think that, America should atone for one of its original sins, which is slavery. Like, you ain't gonna never hear me say that we don't need reparations. It's just a matter of what that looks like.
Yeah, well, exactly. I was just gonna say, what do you think that should look like?
I mean, there's a lot of different ways to do economic equity packages. That's not my area of expertise, but I mean, I don't know if cash payments are the answer, but I definitely think that there should be some type of economic equity package put together in the form of education, in the form of housing, in the form of money. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of different ways that you could do it.
I feel like it should involve home ownership.
Yep. I'm not mad at that either.
Home ownership is really good. And of course, that creates generational wealth. And also on the back end of that audio clip, you heard from Council Speaker Adrienne Adams, who actually supports the measure. So that's your front page news. I'm still at CBC today. There's a brunch at the White House. I'm going to continue to talk to the legislators and playmakers. And so, yeah, that's your front page news. You can follow me on social at Morgan Media. And for more news coverage, follow at Black Information Network. Download the free iHeartRadio app and visit BINnews.com.
Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.